What's going on, everybody? Back for another edition of St. Pius 10th Football with Greg Cranfill, powered by VYPE. Joshua Cook here joined again by head coach of the St. Pius 10th Panthers, Greg Cranfill. Coach, coming off this week, coming off a Central Catholic 28-27 loss this past week, kind of a nail-biting, back and forth, one of those kind of games. Just fell a little short there at the end. Talk about this one, and what did you tell the guys on Saturday morning when you met with them?
Yeah, I was very pleased with our effort. You know, we went into the game knowing exactly what we were going to expect with a very formidable opponent, a well-coached ball club that had some outstanding athletes in critical positions. And I thought our guys fought all the way down to the last play of the game. And that's all I ask of them is go into it believing that you can win a football game and then play like that, as opposed to playing scared or playing not to lose. And I think that's what I got out of the game, is the fact that those guys did just exactly that. You know, we looked at it on video, the coaches on Saturday, and we're looking at how deep we are into our depth chart because of some injuries that we have suffered. And the next man up mentality with those kids jumping up there and trying to grasp an opportunity for some playing time. We were very pleased with those guys that had to step up in those roles and assume the responsibility. So it's a good step. But again, I told you, we're not real in favor of moral victory. So we want to try to find ways to get over that hump and push through and win games like that. And, you know, you go back and look, all championship teams, you got to win close games. And when those games get into those situations, you've got to have kids that have been in those situations before and that know how to handle those. And that's what we're looking for right now, is just those types of guys.
We're going to talk about a few players who walk away with some of your Team Player of the Week awards. Chick-fil-A Offensive Player of the Week, Logan Tanner, 4 catches for 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also had 2 solo and 1 assist tackle on defense. He grades out at 96%, so an A++ performance for Logan Tanner this week.
Yeah, and the reality of it is he's been doing that every week. You know, and what he does catching the ball and in space, that's what everybody sees. But no one notices that he's got his hand on the ground for 40 snaps a game and moving people and creating those holes that those backs are running through. He, along with our offensive line, which I felt like played pretty well Friday night. You know, it's just the fact of when you have a talented kid like Logan, just to put him in situations to allow him to be successful. And I thought Carson did a great job of getting him the ball at some critical times, and we did just that. I'm very proud of his effort, and like I said, it's nothing new. He's been doing it week after week after week.
Then we flip to the other side of the ball, the Chick-fil-A Defensive Player of the Week, Carson Hintz, 17 total tackles, 12 of those solo, 5 assists. And you know, when I go and look at a defensive box score and I see 10 tackles for one guy, I go, wow, he had a heck of a game.
Yeah.
Carson Hintz going out there getting 17 tackles and 12 of those are solo. Talk about his performance.
Well, here's what you don't know is the fact that Carson plays our will linebacker, and because of an injury, I grabbed him and said, "Are you okay jumping to the Sam?" Which is a completely different mindset. Carson said, "I'll do whatever I need to do, Coach," and jumped over to the other side, and then did a heck of a job, you know. He's one of those kids, you know, he's captain of a football team for a reason, because we trust him, and he goes out every Friday night and plays well. But Carson will tell you the reason he plays well on Friday is because of the focus that he has on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday to get himself ready to go on Friday. He's a guy that's very critical of himself and does not like making mistakes. And that's the type of kid you want to coach. Someone that holds himself accountable first and has, you know, the fortitude and basically understanding of the responsibility that he has with the success of that defense. And very proud of the things that he's done. Again, he's the same way as Logan. Carson's been doing it week in, week out, and we're still looking for good things. The best thing, one of the best things that I could say about both of those guys, they're juniors. So you got two guys that are leading this football team that are juniors. Both of them have the chance to play at the next level, and we're excited about what the future holds for both of them.
Yeah, any coach will get excited whenever you look at their roster and a few of your players the week consistently have that JR or that SO next to their name, not SR.
Right.
So excited to have those guys back next year in the 2021 season.
Yes, sir.
Your special teams player of the week, can't forget him, Cade Nygren. Great night pinning back Central Classic. Talk about your kicker.
Yeah, he's been doing the same thing each week as well. I've been a big pooch guy my whole career, just because of the fact that, speed and space is always one of the main concerns that we have. And when you kick the ball deep to some of these people that we're playing and allow them the ability to make some movements in open space, it's always been dangerous. But we feel confident in the way our coverage units have been attacking each week. And Cade's got the leg to kick the ball to the end zone. And so we let him do it. And then our coverage units did a great job. Very happy with what he's accomplished and what the future holds for him as well.
Your Panther Power Performance Play of the Week, Nathaniel Lulo. Sorry, Nathaniel, I mispronounced your name. Came in at tailback, great performance, 5 carries, 85 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not a bad night for him running out of the backfield.
No, he's another young kid. I mean, he's a sophomore that's been able to step up. He starts for us as inside slot, but in critical situations, we've asked him to come in and play running back in that third slot, because obviously Carson Hintz is our number 2 back. But when Carson's playing 85 snaps on defense that night and going, Coach, I'd just like to get a breath, and go back to Carson. Carson came in offensively and made some good plays, for us offensively, on top of the great night he had defensively. But then we still had to go with our number 3 back because of injuries. And Nathaniel came in and did well. He had an average over about 10 yards. So we were very happy with what he accomplished.
It's always the thing, you look at a roster for a football team at the beginning of the year, it's like, this guy and this guy, the guys you're going to watch. Well, here's the thing, injury, all of a sudden you're looking at the bench and you're going, okay, who can step up? And that's next man up mentality. And you've mentioned this before, and we'll get to your final player of the week award here in a second. But how proud are you of these guys for that next man up mentality that they've really embraced? Because some teams don't embrace it and other teams do. And it seems like this one does.
Right. And it's how we practice and how we prepare that gives these guys an opportunity when they go into these critical situations and games, and they still feel confident and are able to be successful because they've been doing it in practice. We try to give these guys as many reps as possible, knowing that, like we said, one snap, it could be the first snap of the game or the 60th snap of the game. Your number may be called to go in there and play a different position or to play the position that you've been working at, and you've got to be ready. And I think these guys have embraced that mentality of, Coach, just call my number and I'm ready to go. The unique thing about this team is we've got 2 Carsons, we've got 2 Logans, we've got multiple guys with multiple names or with the same name. And during a game, I'll turn around and call for someone, and then just to see every kid with that name running out. And they have no idea, really, they have no idea who I'm talking to, but it's just, Coach, you called me and I'm going to go. And I have to end up pulling the reins back on some of them. And I tell them, I have no problems with that because you didn't hesitate a second when I called your name. You're ready to go. And that means you're involved. That means you're ready to go. And those things are pretty big for a head coach to know that you guys on that sideline are just as locked in as those guys out on the field. It's just you come off a 28-27 loss and you can go home and beat yourself up and try to break everything down. But when I look back at how hard our kids fought and how hard our kids worked that week to put themselves in that position, you just get a little heartbroken because you want them to have that success of the payment for all the things that they work for, And I just told them, I said, guys, I hate to be Debbie Downer, but the reality of it is you don't always get what you want. You know what I mean? And hard work doesn't always equal wins on the scoreboard. But hard work and character and those things that we showed during that game, they do show victories throughout your life. And that's a key concept that we try to take from each week.
Your final Player of the Week award, Jersey Mike's Scout Team Player of the Week, goes to two players, Adrian Narvaez and Jackson Rogers. And we don't talk about Scout Team a lot, but these are the guys that go out there and they try to mimic what the opposing team is going to do. So they are a crucial part of this operation that we call Texas high school football and football in general.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something about both of those guys. I mean, it's pretty special to me as a head football coach. They go out there and they blood, sweat, and tears just like everybody else Monday through Wednesday. They play on Thursday, and then they come back and they help both of those guys go everywhere that we go Friday nights, and they're on the sidelines running ball boys for us and picking up equipment and doing all those little things that no one ever sees. As a head football coach and as all of our coaching staff, we sure appreciate those two guys and what they do, not only on the field, but off the field. And that's a big deal. We want to reward those types of people, just guys that are selfless, that are just saying, what can we do to help this program? And that's a big deal to me.
We mentioned the scout team. They've got a job this week. They've got to mimic St. Thomas, which owns Maddox Kopp, the University of Houston commit, built for tough player of the week from last week. I think he's averaging like 400, 500 yards a game passing through the air. Cameron Bonner, wide receiver, Drake Martinez at tight end. Coach, talk about this team that you're going to face this week in St. Thomas across the city of Houston.
Right, and I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, there's talent all over the field. But we feel like we've got some talent as well. We know how close we are, and we know that each week that when we go out there that we're about to fight, and that's all that I care about is that we don't ever feel like we're out of the fight. We could play the Houston Texans, the Dallas Cowboys, San Francisco 49ers, and I think our kids are realistic enough to know when people are good, but that doesn't mean that we don't feel like we can go out there and do some things and have some success. And like I said, we're not going over there to play St. Thomas. We're going over there to beat them. When we put game plans together, it's not about, well, what can we do just to get through this game? That's not we are in attack mode, both offensively and defensively. It's exciting this week. Again, when you play great opponents as a coach, you love those opportunities, to see which of your kids will step up in these situations. St. Thomas has got a great program. They've got a great coaching staff, a great head coach. Those kids execute game plans to a T. But we feel like that each week we're taking a step forward with our program, and maybe we're not where we want to be, but we sure are moving in the right direction as far as we're concerned, and that's exciting for us. So like I said, we're not going over there to play them. We're going over there to beat them, and that's our mentality.
Talk about, you mentioned a couple weeks ago when you all got started in the season 3, you mentioned this stretch of games coming up was going to be pretty tough and is going to be challenging opponents. When you look at this down the road as y'all get towards the playoffs and things like that, could you see this stretch of games really paying off, even though on paper it is in the loss column, but you can take the little things here and there, the fight that these guys are learning, and those can pay off in a playoff game down the road?
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And for some of us, in those situations, you find us saying, you can't do that. In that situation, you can't do that. Whether it be to a defensive back who wants to help in another situation that ends up not doing what he's supposed to, a receiver breaking off a route, a quarterback adjusting something, whatever it is, you find yourself as a coach just explaining to kids, listen, in those situations, you've got to go back to doing exactly what we do, exactly the way that we want it done. The reality, the margin for error at these top level games is so minuscule that it's not the fact that you have to play perfect, because you'll hear coaches or fans say, man, you have to play perfect. No one's going to play a perfect game, and it's not going to happen. But what we've got to do is minimize mistakes, and not mistakes caused by other people, what they're doing to us. It's just what we are doing to ourselves, because for 1 second, if you break down 1 second in your mind and lose game plan thoughts or lose technique thoughts, then you can get hurt. I mean, you go back to Maddox and the receivers that these guys have. I mean, they'll strike very quickly because they have that ability. And like I said, we've got to do our part and just make sure that we're doing exactly what we're coached to do.
Well, that game is coming up this week. It is St. Pius X traveling over to Houston St. Thomas. That's gonna be a fun game. I might have to pencil that one in and make my way over there to see.
Yeah.
Well, first off, see these mighty Panthers go over there, and also see St. Thomas, and so it's kind of a 2-for-1 night for
Absolutely.
me.
Come on, man. I'm sure Coach McGuire or myself will let you stand on the sideline. So just stand on. If you go to their sideline, make sure you got black and orange on.
We'll end on some fun stuff here, Coach. What's your favorite part about as you go through a football season? What's your favorite part about watching these guys, grow and learn? And have you had any kind of special moments at St. Pius with any of these guys? And I'm talking about fun moments where they're like dancing in the locker room, or maybe there's a guy that's the best singer on the team that we didn't know about, or something like that.
Yeah, I will tell you a funny story. Because so much of what we do is a grind. Getting up early on Saturday morning to come up here, working all day, and then Sunday spending hours up here, and then Monday comes, and and I go back to a movie where with Tom Cruise that talked about the nights get longer and longer and the days get shorter and shorter, and it's just the fact of how it's just over and over and over. But that's okay. That's what we signed up to do. You know what I mean? But at that at that St. John the 23rd game, coming right after halftime, we go in and we're up at halftime, and we were grinding on them because we wanted them to find ways to get better. And every light in the stadium goes out, and the fans, every fan on both sides, open their phones and have lights swaying back and forth while Chris Stapleton is playing over on the PA announcer. He had that music going, and I was standing in the middle, and for 1 second I was like, this is what it would be like to be to be at a rock concert when everything around you was just white light swaying and music, but minus the fact that I wasn't the one singing it. But it was a pretty cool moment. And I looked at the kids, and my first instinct is go get them, Greg, and tell them to stop. But they were just in that moment, be able to put their guards down and just have some fun. And I hope they see that out of our program. I hope they feel that out of our program, that when it's time to work, by gosh, we're going to work. And when it's time to play, I want them to have the most fun that they possibly can have. And I, like I said, that's one of the things in any job that we have. There's times that you and I just grind, and then there are moments that we can step back and say, okay, this is the fun part about what we do. And I think for kids, it's so important that they are able to do just that, and especially with what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's brand new to them, and like I said, for that one moment, for them just to take a deep breath and to smile and have some fun at a Friday night football game, I think it's something that those guys will never forget. I think that's a cool moment. So
yeah, and I think in a year like that we've had in
Sure.
2020, where these kids, we saw the spring sport athletes, those seniors have everything taken away from them, and then it was, how do we get it back in the fall? And then, okay, we're going to play and stuff, and there's some critics that go, okay, we shouldn't be doing this, we shouldn't be doing that. But you watch these kids on Friday nights, and you go out, and it's like, you know what, these kids deserve to have this fun, because
Absolutely.
this is fun. This is fun, and not only for them, it's also the coaches and the coaching staffs that put in the time, and for y'all, this is a passion, and it's not just about wins and losses. I mean, I couldn't even imagine, how you would be feeling right now if you didn't have a high school football season to be coaching right now as we sit here in October.
No, you're exactly right. And we constantly, as the administrative team and our athletic director, who's amazing at just keeping perspective with our kids and understanding these things were taking away from so many important athletes last spring that we need to grasp every opportunity we have and embrace it. And I hope that's what those kids are getting out of this, that what we're doing has not been, given to them. It's something that we've done to earn it, but just very quickly it can be taken away. And like I said, we've got 4 or 5 guys right now that are dealing with that, with banged up shoulders or on crutches because of their feet, and they're going through that reality. Did I just play my last snap? And hopefully that's not the case, but the reality of it is in some instances that it is, So we just want them to embrace every moment, that carpe diem season, not necessarily just the day, but each moment that you have.
Yeah, it's always a great thing. I think this year, everybody has learned to seize the moment and seize the day and the time that you have and everything like that. But Coach, your team takes on St. Thomas on Friday night. It should be a good one. Y'all sit at 3-2. Try to get that number 4 win. Boy, y'all get that number 4 win. It's going to send a shockwave through the city of Houston, and we'll be definitely ready to talk on Monday morning.
That's it, man. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, it won't shock us. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, I got a group full of coaches. I got a room full of coaches and a room full of young men and parents and fan base that know that when we go out each Friday, that we're going to win. And that's what, like I said, I told you, and I can't reiterate it enough. We're not going to play them. We're going to beat them. So hopefully you'll see that mentality of full speed ahead. The old burn the boats mentality. We're not going back. We're moving forward, and that's what I hope our kids get from this week.
Well, you got me fired up, Coach. I'm ready to go run through a wall. Let's go. All right. He is Greg Cranfill. He's the head coach of the St. Pius X Panthers. They take on St. Thomas this week. You can catch the Greg Cranfill Show every single Wednesday on the VYPE Media Network. Coach, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Love it, man. Go Panthers.